Welcome to another episode of Purchase to Profits. I'm Seth Ferguson. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our daily interviews with successful real estate investors. Our guest today started in real estate in 2014 when he realized that touring with his metalcore band wasn't going to cut it. He's currently invested in over 600 units of multi and single family real estate. Caleb Bryant is with Relentless Capital Group. Caleb, welcome to Purchase to Profits. It's great to have you on the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Seth.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. You are the very first metalcore guy we've had on the show, so it's a first.
Or at least self-proclaimed metalcore guy.
Yeah, yeah. You'll have to. Too bad we don't have a picture to flash of you on stage.
Yeah. I don't know if I can even find one of those. They exist somewhere on Facebook or something.
Yeah, for sure. So real estate wise, so you left metalcore. Real estate wise, what are your goals right now for real estate?
I have two goals, and I'll just give you basically my yearly goals because long term they change all the time. Yeah. So for this year, I'm trying to pick up 600 units in multifamily.
Nice.
And I'm working with a partner to build a single family business that does 30,000 net on average per month. So that's wholesaling and lease options and whatever strategy we need to use to make that money in the single family game.
Yeah, so you've got two things going on right now, which is unique, I think, because most people will concentrate, they'll say, hey, I just want to focus on my multifamily portfolio now. What made you decide to do two things at the same time?
I didn't start with two things at the same time. So I focused on multifamily first. And the reasons for that was I wanted to have cash flow. I had seen people in real estate do things like my dad had done some land flips, which are great, but you got to keep doing them to keep making money. And then development and other ways of making money in real estate. But what I really wanted to focus on was cash flow. But multifamily also brought about economies of scale, which it was something that was very attractive to me. So I focused on multifamily first. And when I found kind of my groove, I had some time and I got bored. So I needed to do more.
Yeah. No, fair enough. That's a very fair answer. So you mentioned you have a partner on the single family home side. What was it like? Did you actively go out searching for a partner, or did it just kind of happen through osmosis?
Osmosis, man. So the one thing that helped me be successful at the beginning was the thing I focused on was networking. So I ended up meeting this partner through networking, and he was actually trying to help me find a multifamily deal because that's what I was looking for. But as me and him traveled together, there was a particular package of properties that he was showing me because he knew the owner and he knew they're trying to get rid of it. And it was a couple hours away. So through those long car drives, we talked a lot about goals and what we were trying to do in real estate and legacy wealth. And I realized that he had a very similar mindset. He had similar values, and he was a very trustworthy and honest person, which are all things I look for in a partner. So a little bit later down the line, that deal never went through. But I was like, man, why don't I just partner up with you and let's try to expand this thing?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it happened by accident, but I'm very happy with it.
Yeah. Usually the best things do happen by accident.
Yeah. You take little small actions that don't necessarily look like they're going to lead up to that big thing. And then before you know it, some big thing happens and you're like, how did I even get here?
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned legacy wealth as one of the things. What was that always top of mind when you said, hey, I want to get into real estate, or did that kind of happen towards, more recently?
No, that was from the beginning. And what I realized, and this is one of the reasons I ended up getting a single family partner as well, is I was investing in multifamily, but then I would be spending the cash flow.
Yeah.
It's hard to generate more, to build bigger when you're spending all your cash flow. So I was like, okay, how about multifamily is my legacy pillar, and then single family is kind of my milk and cereal pillar, where I pay the bills and eat out of that cash flow instead.
Yeah, I like that. You can have your bowl of Lucky Charms
Yep.
with the single family. That's awesome. And so, multifamily and single family are they're both real estate, but they both have their own unique characteristics. So what's it like, or how do you handle going back and forth between the two, because it takes different skill sets?
So for me, it starts with having great partners. You got to have a great team. I learned multifamily first, so I'm a lot quicker in conversations about multifamily. But the way I brought value to my single family business partner was through marketing. The interest I'm able to generate through social media, which ends up turning into private lenders. It ends up turning into buyers. And then also Facebook ads and implementing different strategies to bring in sellers. So that's the value I bring, where he is the main deal mechanic or deal architect. So he'll find a way to make it happen. He closes the deal, and together we're able to do more because together he has more leads and more money to use. And when he has more opportunities, he obviously is able to close more.
Yeah. So you're definitely in that rainmaker position then.
If you want to say that, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Well, I think, just looking at real estate people as a whole, typically marketing is one of the weaknesses. They really enjoy looking at the numbers. They like looking at properties, but the marketing side is really lacking. So what things do you think that you're doing a lot better than most other people?
We'll say better than average, because I have a lot of people that I look up to that do a heck of a lot better job than me.
Yeah.
But it really starts with being consistent. So, and that's in several things. So I started with being consistent in going to networking events. Typically, I started with multifamily events, national ones. Go to most of the gurus conferences, and you start to meet people. But then you also start to become a face that's familiar to the same people over and over again. And through time, that network moved on. I have that network in social media as well, and I'm consistently posting, and so that I'm consistently top of mind. And I position myself as the guy for Alabama, the multifamily guy for Alabama, and it's been very beneficial because I'll have friends in Arizona that are like, "Hey, I got a clue on a property in Birmingham. I know you're working there. Can I get your advice, or would you like this, or whatever?" Or I have people like yesterday. I actually had someone reach out. They have a letter of intent on one of the multifamily properties here, and they're like, "Hey, man, I want some submarket advice." Okay, so it's about being consistent first and foremost, and just continually bringing content that brings some value to people. It doesn't have to be great. It's more about being consistent.
Yeah. No, 100%. And what sort of routines and rituals have you developed yourself that have helped keep you focused on your business?
Uh, Really, it starts outside of the business and goes with personal growth, I guess. So, a long time, I kind of just winged it 100% of the time. Now I only do it about 50% of the time. Uh, so when I wake up, I try to wake up at 5:30 every morning, and the first thing I do is write my goals for the year to keep them in focus. I then I'll read for 30 minutes to an hour because I want to be growing myself and kind of put myself in the right frame of mind from the very beginning. And then I usually like to go do some sort of exercise. And when I when I forget to start the day that way, which isn't very often, or something comes up to where it's difficult to, I can feel it.
Yeah.
I know I feel off. So that morning routine has helped a ton. It helps me attack the day rather than just let it happen to me.
Yeah. And so would you say you're waking up at 5:30? Are you going to bed at a pretty reasonable time?
Yeah, usually around 10.
Yeah.
I don't know what 11 o'clock news looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. There are a couple robots out there that go to bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning and wake up super early. I don't know how they do it.
I have to sleep. So I know some people that can handle 5 hours, 5 days a week, and that's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah, not for me either. So, out of all the deals you've done so far, you're over 600 units now. Is there one that stands out as a Keystone deal that made a big impact?
Yeah. So our most recent acquisition, and I say our because me and a couple partners from Birmingham, Alabama, we team up to get these deals done. And we picked up this deal. It was in a submarket of Birmingham called Centerpoint, a 96 unit apartment complex built in the 70s, kind of a C class product in I'd say a C plus type area. And that's kind of been our bread and butter, our sweet spot is areas like that.
Yeah. And so, how did you source this deal? Was it through a broker or did you go direct to seller?
So we're always trying to go direct to seller. However, this particular deal came about through a broker. It wasn't on the market, but it had been on the market a few years previously. And I'll actually pull up the old OM here. It was part of a 4-property portfolio, and 3 of those properties sold. So the reason this one didn't sell is because there was a title issue at the time, and the buyer was a little freaked out by the title issue, didn't want to have to work through that. So they said, hey, we'll pick up these other 3. Good luck with that one. And so it sat there for a couple years. They went through several managers. They had a hard time because they lost their economies of scale. Their expenses went up. Their management was poor. And they were basically bleeding money from this property as far as their total spreadsheet was concerned. And so the broker brought it to us, said, hey, I know these guys are looking to get rid of it. And then we went to negotiations.
Yeah. And so, when the broker brought you all the financials and stuff, what jumped out at the page with this property? Did you see a value add component? Was it awesome location? What was the big blinking light?
So we look for a couple things right from the get-go. And one of those would be, what are the comps selling for? What is the price per door in the area? And what can we get it at? So in this one's case, they wanted $3.5 million for it. We knew they had paid $3.25 whenever they purchased it, and we offered them 2.4, which after a little bit of negotiation, we settled on 2.8, and that's around $29,200 a door. And by those numbers, the comps in the area were going for about 50.
Nice.
So we knew we always search for that kind of spread. So we want to get into a property and we want to get whatever renovations we need to get done, all for 65% of what we can, 65% of what the value is. That way we can refi safely at 65, 70, 75% LTV and have all the money out of the deal.
Yeah. And was there a big reno component to this one, or was it just more managerial?
So I'll say it like this. The property we had bought before this one was so much heavier lift. And then the one before that was like an insanely heavy lift that this one looked like nothing. We don't have to do a whole lot, and we're still in the process of this. But we're only putting in 18 to 2,200 a unit on average.
Oh, wow.
But
okay.
We're not doing a whole lot as far as typical upgrades, because I know syndicators, they typically, first off, are buying properties that they can make a B class. We're not trying to make this a B class. It's going to stay a C. We're just going to clean it up and make it a better place to live. Mm-hmm. and bring the rents to market and etc. So we go in, we'll do the vinyl plank flooring, just for longevity, and it creates a better sense of home for the tenants. It just looks better than the carpet that was there. Basic like paint on the cabinets, trying to replace as few of those as possible. If it needs it, we will, but and then do a few things that save us money, like we take out the dishwashers in this property because all they do is leak and they never work anyway. Yeah. And replace the countertops with a clean but affordable countertop that just brings up the value, the home feeling of the property.
Yeah. And it sounds like with this deal, it was the seller situation that really made this one a really good deal for you, because there was a bit of distress, you said, because they had sold off everything else.
Well, I'll say it like this. While it was a distressed property, this owner wasn't hurting because their parent company owns 50,000 units.
Oh, gotcha.
So this was more of a line item that they're like, well, this one isn't making money, so let's just scratch it off.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a win-win. From not a pure win-win, but it was definitely a win for us, and it helped them get rid of a property that wasn't bringing them any value, and they probably weren't going to get any value out of it simply because they weren't looking to purchase several more properties in the area, and they were never going to have that economies of scale again. So
yeah. And most of the listeners with this show have a couple properties and they're looking to scale. Most of them are probably wondering right now, how did you put yourself in that position where the broker approached you with the deal?
So it goes back to team, and that's like my theme is just build solid teams. My team had developed these relationships for a very long time. So I connected with these two partners in Birmingham, and they had been in the market since 2005. Investing, that is, they lived there their whole lives, but investing since 2005. And so the broker relationships had been established over a long period of time. I was just in addition to that. And again, similar to that, my value was marketing and being able to bring capital to the deal. So with that being said, it's Anthony's fault. What they like about us is, one, they know what we're looking for, and they know we can close. If it works our numbers, they know that we can close it. And if you partner with people that have those relationships and have closed properties, you're gonna be able to leverage that relationship with the broker. So if I would have tried to build that relationship myself, it would have taken potentially years. Mm-hmm. But instead, I built the relationship with the operators and invested with them, and they invested with me, and together we were able to utilize each other's strengths.
Yeah, that's huge. So the game plan with this property, are you looking at like a 5 to 7 year hold? What do you think you'll do with it?
So the cool thing is we bought it with a joint venture structure. So there's 4 total partners in the deal. And by definition, we're all active investors. So with that said, we can hold it as long as we want. And we expect to hold it, I would say a minimum 7, probably more like a minimum 10 years.
Yeah.
And the reason is we're focused on cash flow. So we're not working on the refi anymore. Now we're just waiting for funding. Excuse me. So we've already got the refi completed, except for us actually getting our checks. So almost there.
That's the best part, though.
That is the best part, and I'll do something celebratory when that happens. But so all the money's out of the deal, and we're able to reinvest all our money in the next deal, but we can keep this cash flow. The cool thing is, I mean, the market is pretty hot in general. People are paying a lot for properties like this. And so what we want to do is cash flow it for a while. And then when the market makes sense to let go of it, we can let go of it, and we just all agree to let go and move on to something bigger or something different.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually that's interesting because most of the guests that we have on doing, around 100 unit plus deals, they're syndicating them. It's interesting that you did that joint venture structure.
Yeah. Well, the thing about a syndication is there's a lot of people involved, and it takes a lot, kind of like trying to go through the government to do a project. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Like, the street down the road from my house is going to take 14 months to reopen, but that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
This way we can move quickly, and we can do things intentionally and fast without having to worry about reporting to 300 or 40 people or whatever it is. But it also, 2.8 million isn't a ridiculous amount of as far as purchase price.
Yeah.
But we do have one advantage, and it's our lending, where we tackle it with private money. So we get in for about 10% of our purchase price.
Nice.
I think on this one we were at like 13% or something like that. But we get in for a pretty low percentage because we're buying it with so much equity that the lender feels safe.
Yeah.
But with that being said, most syndicators have to go in and raise all the renovation dollars and raise all the maybe 30% of the purchase price, 25% of the purchase price. And that takes a lot more capital than what we're doing. And they're also typically paying a lot closer to retail value than we are. Not retail usually, but maybe 80 to 85%, sometimes as high as 90%, depending on the market. But
yeah, no, it's a really unique structure, and I think you are the first guy who's done that with let's say 100 unit property so far. So that's great. I'm glad you brought that one up.
Yeah, I didn't know about it before my business partners, so I think it's a nice, well kept secret that's been working well.
Yeah, for sure. So how has getting into real estate changed your life so far?
Well, I was able to quit my job, which I never saw jobs as a permanent thing anyway. I've always been pretty like, just make it happen. If I need a job for a temporary time, great, no problem. But I never saw it as something that was holding me back. But I get to do, like, I do have that freedom as far as today I'm going to work. Tomorrow I'm going to work, but maybe Friday take a day off because I want to go to the lake or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's changed my life in that capacity. But what's really cool about it is I just get to do what I like all the time, which is what most people want to do. So
yeah. And looking ahead, let's say 10 years from now, where do you see your business going?
Goodness, 10 years. I usually look a little shorter, like 5, but
all right, let's do 5.
Yeah, 5 years. I see, first off, even by the end of the year, we're working on, we're not under contract yet, so there's a lot of speculation still, but we're working on several different 400 unit plus deals.
Nice.
And obviously we're trying to tackle one of them, but if we can get that done before the end of the year, we'll be very happy with that. For me, I really don't have like this huge unit count. I want to be at a point where I'm making around $1 million a year, and then I can go maybe speak, I can go travel, I can go maybe write. I just want to try different stuff. So
yeah, no, I like it.
It's getting to that relatively high. I mean, $1 million isn't a lot to a lot of the people I know in this business, but for me, I just don't like a lot of stuff anyway. So I can't make my payments go that high. I just can't.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm sure in a couple of years you'll hit your million, and then you'll have to add an extra zero.
I'll work on the next zero when the time comes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Caleb, if somebody's looking to get in touch with you, learn more about what you're doing, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can reach out to me at my email, caleb@relentlesscapitalgroup.com, which is also my website if you want to check that out. You're probably just best to reach out to me because I just put that up just to say I had one. It looks good though, at least. And then the best place is probably Facebook or Instagram though. Facebook.com/relentlesscaleb, or on Instagram it's @relentlessinvestor.
That's great. Well, Caleb, just want to say thanks so much for taking the time today and sharing your success.
Hey, Seth, thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure was mine. And to you, our viewers, I wish you well on your journey from purchase to profits. See you next time.